Week 3. On Monday, we will be doing our first fartlek training session. We're doing this because it is good for my client to reach his goal and is also difficult to the different to the training times that my client has already done. As we when doing fartlek training, this is a change of pace throughout the exercise, which will be good for my client as he plays basketball and throughout the game he's having to change speeds and go at a constant pace with not many pauses in between. So this will be realistic to his sport as well as his goals. My client would start off by doing a warm-up where I would get him to do a 2-minute low-intensity jog twice as pulse raiser. This then be followed by some dynamic stretches like lunges, open the gate, hamstring sweeps, kickouts, and some more static stretches on his arms as well. And the main activity is focused on cardiovascular endurance. This will be a duration of 30 minutes. For the first 20 minutes, he will be be a jog at around 50%, and then the last 10 minutes he will up his pace to 70%. This will then be the end of the session, and then we'll have to do a cool down after, consisting of a low intensity jog followed by static stretches like lunges, squats, hamstring sweeps, holding the leg up behind the bum. On Tuesday, this is my client's rest day due to having a game the next day. On Wednesday, we will not do any exercise as my client has a basketball match for college this day and has to save all of his energy for it. On Thursday, my client will be doing weight training. This session will be focusing on legs again, but changing up what he will be doing. He will start off by doing lunges on the suited weight for him for three sets of 10 reps. We will then get him to perform leg press for again the same suited weight for my client. He'll do 4 sets of 8 reps on this. Like in week 1, we'll also get him to do calf raises, performing 3 or 4 sets of 10 reps on a higher weights than he did in the first week. This is on the machine. We will also get him to perform it with 3 weights where he will hold a weight on one side with one hand and on the other with the opposite foot. Put the foot on the ledge and will raise himself purely through his leg that he is on. He will then perform this twice on each leg for reps of 12 each time. We will then get him to finish off with a cool down where he'll do stretches on his legs like lunges, open the gate, calf sweeps, etc. On Friday, my client will be continuing with interval training, but instead of this being with jogging, it is now going to be on a bike in the gym. We'll start with a warm up where we'll perform dynamic stretches like lunges, open the gate, calf sweeps, ankle rolls, and some more static stretches, followed by a low intensity 2-minute cycle. We'll start the active session by getting them to perform 30 seconds of steady state cycling, followed by 1 minute of anaerobic cycling where he'll do it as quick as possible. He'll then get a minute's rest in between each set and we'll do this 3 times. After this, we'll then get a 5-minute rest and we'll do it all again, and then we'll have to finish with a cool down where we'll do a low intensity 2-minute cycle on the bike. On Saturdays, my client's rest day due to being busy. On Sunday, we'll perform another weight training session, and this time being on back and triceps. He will warm up by doing some body weight pull-ups. He'll do 3 sets of 12 reps. We will start on back where he does bent over rows. We found the weight that is most suited to my participant last week, and he did 3 sets of 8 reps on this. We will then get him to up the reps to 10 in each set, and then if possibly up the weight by 5 kg or more if it's doable in the final set. He will then perform on his rear delts again. We found the right weight for my client last week. For this, he'll do 3 sets of 10 reps on this, and we'll get him to up the weight from last week on both arms as much as he can do. We'll finish off with his back workout with him doing pull-ins. Like the other 2, we found the weight appropriate for my client when we were there, and we will get him to up the weight on both arms for this. We will then move on to triceps, where he'll start off by doing some tricep dips, doing 3 sets of 10 on this. Then we will do some tricep pull-ups on the cables, where the rope will start above him, and then he will have to pull it down to around his waist. He will perform 3 sets of 12 and up in the weight from last week. Using the same equipment, he'll do the same but going over his head from behind And we'll do 3 sets of 12 reps on this, and we'll up the weight as well. On Monday, we'll be following on from last week with fartlek training. We will start the same warm-up and cool-down as last week, but we'll be changing up the drill to something different to prevent tedium, and also hopefully this new drill should work him harder. So last week we did 20 minutes at 50% followed by 10 minutes of 70%. Instead of doing one after another this time, we are going to do 20 minutes of both, but start off by doing 10 minutes of 50%, and then 10 minutes of 70%, and then repeat this again with no rest. He'll have to do a warm up and cool down, focusing on the main muscles of his quads, hamstrings, calves, and glutes. And he'll have to do stretches on both of these. On Tuesday, this is my client's rest day due to having a game the next day, and Wednesday, this is my client has a game, so will not be performing exercise with me. On Thursday, my client will be carrying on with his usual weight training on a Thursday after a match day. This session we will be focusing on chest and abdominals. To start off on chest as a warm-up, my client will start by doing body weight press-ups, where he will do 2 sets of 12. We will then start by incline bench press, where he will do 6% of his 1 rep max that we recorded in week 1. We are going to perform the same amount of sets, being 3, but up the reps to 12, so therefore we've upped the reps and weight. Then we'll go on to decline bench press. As we have not done this yet, it targets a new part of the client's muscles in his chest. We will have to drop the weight for this as it's new, so he will find the right weight for him that makes him feel comfortable doing and can get the correct form, but make sure that it's not too easy for him so that it is working him hard enough. He'll do 3 sets of 8 reps in each, and if possible in the last set to up the weight a bit. Then to finish off, my client will do a finisher where he has to do press ups with 5 kg on his back until failure. This is good to do as it improves his muscle stamina and not just the muscle strength side of it. After this, we are going to do an ab workout on my client. We will start with decline sit-ups with a 5 kg weight on his chest. This will then be followed by normal sit-ups where he has his arms in the air with an 8 kg weight in his hands, and he'll have to do 3 sets of 10 reps of both of these. To finish off his abs workout, we will get him to do ab pushes where you get a bar with weight on one end and then the other end is locked into the floor, and you're stood up straight and push the bar from you until your bar straightens fully. My client will do 4 sets of these with 8 reps in each set. My client will then finish off the session with a cool down where he will foam roll. On Friday, my client will be doing interval training again, but this time we will be mixing the 2 interval trainings that he did first and second. So the first time he was doing it running just straight in a line, we will do 2 sets of that, and then the one where he was changing direction, we'll also do 2 of that. So this is mixing the 2 together and pushing a bit harder, and then we will also allow him to only have a 1-minute rest in between each set instead of a 2-minute rest to work him a bit harder. He'll also have to perform the same warm-up and cool-down as he did in both them sessions as well. On Saturday, this is my client's rest day due to being busy. On Sunday, we'll perform a HIIT training session. We'll start by doing a warm-up where my client will need to do stretches on the muscles, quads, hamstrings, calves, and then on their shoulders and arms. Then my client should be prepared to start the session, where it consists of dumbbell goblet squats, bent over rows, clean and press, renegade rows, dumbbell lunges, dumbbell bench press, dumbbell calf raises. These will all be done for 10 reps each, where they will then get 1 minute's rest and repeat the same again and do it 3 times in total. My client will then need to finish the session with a cool down on the same muscle groups as they did in the warm-up. On Monday, my client will be performing circuit training. My client will start with a warm-up where he will jog from one line to another, being 20 meters apart, and do this 5 times. Then my client will need to do the same stretches as he usually does. Then he will be fully ready for the session, where it will start with him performing shuttle sprints where the 2 marks are 20 meters apart and running there and back is 1 rep, and he will perform 7 reps. Then Then he will get 30 seconds rest where he will then perform 25 tuck jumps. This is where you have to jump up and tuck your legs up at the same time. Once again, he will get 30 seconds rest where he will then perform 15 burpees and then finally finish with 5 hill sprints. He will then get 3 minutes rest and will have to repeat everything again 3 times. On Tuesday is my client's rest day, and Wednesday my client has a game. On Thursday we'll do another weight training session, but instead of focusing just on 2 muscle groups, we'll be doing all of them. We'll do a session on most muscle groups, but just with less on each group. We will start by getting to do bicep curls with 12 kg weight in each arm, doing 3 sets of 8 reps on each arm. Then we will get him to do tricep dips on a bench with 5 kg weight on his lap. He'll do 3 sets of 10 reps with this. We'll then move on to bench press, where he'll get the weight that he did last on this and do 3 sets of 10 reps and hopefully up the weight on the last set if that's possible. We will then finish on shoulder press, where he will get the weight he used last time for shoulder press and do 3 sets of 10 with hopefully bench press and up the weight on the last set. In between each component of fitness, my client will get a few minutes rest. On Friday, we will do interval training. In this, we will use stairs at the ground with a stand. My client will need to perform the same warm-up as he did for the interval training session, where I will remind him what to do if he forgets. Then I will get my client to run up halfway up the stairs and then back to the bottom, then up 3/4 of the stairs and then back, and then eventually to the very top and back down to the bottom. My client will need to get a minute's rest, where he will then have to perform 15 burpees and then get another minute's rest. He'll have to repeat what he just did again and will perform this 4 times. Then my client will need to finish off the session with a cool down. This will consist of a light jog up the stairs, followed by doing some static stretches on his quads, hamstring, calves and glutes. On Saturday is my client's rest day. On Sunday he will do the exact same as he did on Thursday for the weight training session, but this time he will be doing an overload session where my client will do every set for 6 reps but increase the weight on everything. I don't know how much he'll be working at this point, but when it comes to it I will know how much to add on from the previous session, so I'll have to decide on the day how much we're adding on. We won't just be upping the weight like we did last time. We'll be upping the weight a lot more as he's doing less reps and this is performing overload.